Speaker, I stand to support this motion.
Proceed, Madenge.
Honorable Speaker, today is a great day for coffee farmers. Now that this bill is being debated in this House, and it will no longer be used on the rooftops of vehicles by politics and politicians who are trying to drive a certain narrative in the Mount Kenya region where coffee is mainly grown. There have been accusations that the majority leader in this House being falsely and unfairly accused of frustrating a bill that had not even gotten to the floor of this House. Well, senior members who have been here long enough know the procedure of Parliament and the way bills are processed. So today, I'm a happy member of this House and also a happy chair of the Parliamentary Coffee Caucus. Honorable Speaker, the regeneration of the Kenya coffee industry has come at a time of great challenges. The coffee growing areas and land has shrunk tremendously. The production per tree has gone down. Farmers have been pushed at the periphery of the coffee trade. This bill brings back farmers as major players in the trading of the coffee commodity. Honorable Speaker, the coming back of the reestablishment of the Coffee Research Institute at a time when farmers are faced with the effects of climate change, the effects of new diseases and pesticides, and declining production, the need to regenerate the aging coffee bushes could not have come at a better time. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I allowed this bill for bringing back the Coffee Research Institute. However, Honorable Speaker, I still feel that in the same way we fund research at KEMRI, in the same way we fund research at Karo, the coffee farmer, because this is a key crop for this country, a key foreign exchange earner, the coffee farmer must also be supported by the exchequer in reviving the research which has been largely dormant for over 10 years. Honorable Speaker, a number of regulators are still active in the coffee value chain, from county governments, the Capital Markets Authority, and the board. It is important for, especially in the coffee trade at the Nairobi Coffee Auction and the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, which is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority, that there is simplicity, clarity, and speed in resolving issues that have either been raised by traders or by the authority itself. Honorable Speaker, it is not possible and tenable in this era of accountability and transparency for the Capital Markets Authority to raise a question to be responded for by a coffee broker, give them 7 days to respond, yet sit on the same communication in resolving it for more than 21 days. That is being an impediment to coffee trade. Honorable Speaker, the best prices by our coffee farmers are fetched through direct sales. Direct sales must be allowed to thrive and not frustrated in this country. That is where our farmers are able to get better prices over and above the prices at the auction. Direct sales must be allowed to complement the sales at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, and therefore the clarity to the route to the market for direct sales, clarity for settlement, and speedy resolution, and the number of bureaucracies and the number of offices required lying in between the conclusion and the agreement of the price and the export of the commodity by the buyer must be streamlined and simplified. In fact, ideally, we should see in this law direct sales having a one-stop shop. Honorable Speaker, the coffee farmer during his heydays had the Kenya Planters Cooperative Union. Those assets were mismanaged. And even the coming back of the coffee board, we must ensure that the membership of the board does not also run into the same problems that KPCU ran. New KPCU today is a parastatal, and the question of how this parastatal will continue to operate alongside the coffee board needs to be clarified. Honorable Speaker, the milling capacity in this country has been competing for very low volumes. And the area of milling has been used traditionally. Actually, the milling area had been the home and the den of cartels. Whereas the new reforms have disrupted the horizontal integration, Honorable Speaker, we cannot remove the old cartels and create a new dominant cartel to carry out the same roles that we were saying have caused suffering to the farmers. Honorable Speaker, it is not possible for millers and brokerage agents and brokerage firms to participate in direct trade, in direct sales, and therefore we must provide for punitive penalties for the players who violate the provisions of this law. Honorable Speaker, the question of financing production of coffee is central to the revival of the coffee business in this country. And therefore we must have clarity and predictable subsidy program for coffee farmers. This sector requires a rebirth, it requires to be revived, and we have to make deliberate steps to support the coffee farmer better. I want to congratulate the Kenya Kwanza government for continuation of the Sheriff Fund, but it is also important and paramount that we craft support for farm inputs and agronomy services. Extension services and the county governments have gone to the dogs. It is imperative that if we are reviving this sector, that the national government intervenes or provides clear guidelines for collaboration in supporting farmers with better agronomy services. Honorable Speaker, the most interesting part is the marketing and selling aspect. In this country, coffee sales and coffee purchase is dominated by about 6 large companies. Those large companies have crowded out any small players who would want to come and provide and offer competition. Then Nairobi Coffee Exchange must deliberately open the route for the small players who will buy small volumes at premium prices to come and compete in that space. Alternatively, we must create a deliberate path for those small players to go directly to our wet mills and our cooperatives and purchase our coffee directly from our farmers. Honorable Speaker, I support.
The Honorable Member of Parliament for Kirinyaga and Njeri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support this bill. Honorable Speaker, I stand here as a good example and a beneficiary of proceeds of coffee. My humble parents from Kirinyaga County used to farm or engage in coffee farming, and those are the proceeds that took me through school. Honorable Speaker, allow me to first recognize the meticulous work done by the Senate Committee on Agriculture, led by Honorable Kamau Murango, the Senator Kirinyaga County. Honorable Speaker, it goes without saying that for a long time, coffee farmers have not been getting their dues. Honorable Speaker, Kirinyaga County produces some of the best coffee famed for its aroma. Notably, Rongeto Factory from Gishugu constituency fetched Kenya shillings 1,715 per kg for their AA grade in the last year at the NCE. Honorable Speaker, despite the challenges that have been there in the coffee sector, this bill now seeks to address some of the pertinent issues so that coffee farmers can finally enjoy the proceeds of their work. It is worth noting, Honorable Speaker, that governance has been a major challenge in the coffee sector. As we discuss and debate the Coffee Bill, Honorable Speaker, 2023, it is also important to remember that we must also fast track as a House the Cooperatives Bill that will address most of the issues that occur in the governance sector of coffee. Honorable Speaker, recently in Kirinyaga County, we saw protests in various cooperatives, notably Kiberegwe Coffee Farmers Cooperative and Mutira Coffee Farmers Cooperative, due to governance issues that have denied farmers their dues and loopholes that are exploited to ensure that they do not get what is owed to them. Honorable Speaker, we must go an extra mile to ensure that as we push for direct sales, Honorable Speaker, so that coffee farmers can be able to market their coffee and sell it directly to any willing buyer, bypassing intermediaries that often manipulate market prices and take advantage of them, that we also address concerns that coffee cooperatives are facing at the county level in terms of infrastructure, Honorable Speaker, which is the duty of the county, Honorable Speaker. We must also address issues of farmhand inputs, Honorable Speaker. We know that we had a very robust fertilizer program, Honorable Speaker, but as I speak, farmers of Kiberegwe Coffee Cooperative Society, Honorable Speaker, do not have the necessary farmhand inputs to ensure that they are also able to grow the crop and maximize the output on their farms. Honorable Speaker, it is worth noting that Clause 47 introduces a levy, a purported levy to be paid to the county governments that is supposed to maintain the society factories' infrastructure. However, Honorable Speaker, county governments have proven from time to time that even once they get these funds, they do not have the goodwill to ensure that the funds are applied and are not diverted. Currently, as I speak, county governments have what we call NAGRIP, that is supposed to facilitate agricultural infrastructure and also offer extension officers at the local level to support farmers so that they can increase their output. However, the same is never applied at the county level. So we must check some of the issues that have been raised or rather introduced by the coffee bill that will not address the challenges the farmers have been facing. Perhaps the national government can come to a common ground with the county government on what duties can be undertaken by national government and what the county governments have the capacity to do. Honorable Speaker, we must also streamline the sector in ensuring that farmers are not exploited merely because perhaps they are not able to read the many documents that are presented during the AGMs, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, any coffee farmer who has attended an AGM can tell you the tedious documentation, the hidden charges in terms of marketing, in terms of transport that is charged in dollars, whereas it is transport at the local level. And all these concerns, Honorable Speaker, the bureaucracy involved in it must be lessened so that the farmer is able to examine any documentation that is presented during the annual general meetings and be able to make even informed decisions when they are giving borrowing power to the societies, Honorable Speaker. In recent times, Honorable Speaker, we have seen protests by coffee farmers arising out of instances where borrowing power has been abused by the societies or the cooperatives, Honorable Speaker, where there has been conflict of interest, where some board members also sit in some unscrupulous circles and they borrow money purporting to have borrowing authority from the coffee farmers who do not understand the documentation and the hefty documents that are provided during AGMs, Honorable Speaker. And then, mysteriously, the circles collapse. Honorable Speaker, these pertinent issues, if they're not addressed, even if we have robust law allowing farmers to have direct sale, yet governance issues are not addressed, coffee farmers will continue to suffer. Honorable Speaker, my colleague, the member for Manyata constituency, who's a chairperson KYPA, and I will be proposing some of these amendments to address governance issues and ensure that farmers get what is due to them. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.